You know that classic image of a game developer? One person hunched over a keyboard in a dark basement? Well, you can just go ahead and toss that idea out the window. Today, creating the games we all love is this massive, incredibly complex operation. It's way more like building a blockbuster movie than it is like coding a simple app. So, what does it really take to build these incredible digital worlds? Let's pull back the curtain.
And get this, that quote is from way back in 1986. And honestly, it's 1,000 times truer now than it was then. The days of a lone genius coding a hit game in their garage, yeah, those are pretty much over. Modern games are built by these huge, specialized teams. You've got programmers, artists, writers, sound designers, all having to work together perfectly. And those huge teams, well, they come with a price tag that is just staggering. We are talking about budgets that can easily soar past $200 million for a single game. That's more than a lot of Hollywood movies. When you've got that kind of money on the line, you better believe the stakes have never been higher.
So, where does a game even begin? Well, it all starts with the blueprint. This is the concept and pre-production phase. It's where a tiny spark of an idea has to prove that it's actually worth a multi-million-dollar investment. Okay, I know this chart looks a little complicated, but it basically maps out the entire industry's food chain. For what we're talking about, the most important part is right there in the middle. That relationship between the developer, the person with the creative idea, and the publisher who brings the money to make it all happen.
The easiest way to think about it is like this. Developers are the architects and the builders. They're the creative visionaries. Publishers, on the other hand, are the investors and the marketers. They're the business engine that actually gets the game funded, puts it on store shelves, and gets it into your hands. All right, so a game gets the green light. The real construction can finally begin. But you can't exactly build a digital world with hammers and nails, right? You need these incredibly powerful software frameworks called game engines. And really, two big names pretty much dominate the landscape. You've got Unity, which is famous for being a bit easier to get into, and it's fantastic for making a game that can run on lots of different platforms. And then you have Unreal Engine. That's the powerhouse behind a ton of huge blockbusters, known for its absolutely jaw-dropping, realistic graphics. But here's the thing. An engine just builds you an empty space. What makes that space feel alive? Well, that's where artificial intelligence comes in. AI is like the invisible brain behind the entire world, controlling everything from how smart your enemies are to how helpful your friends are. In a racing game, for example, it's the AI that makes your opponents feel like real, competitive drivers instead of just mindless cars on a track. And we're not just talking about simple bad guys here. Modern AI creates incredible depth. Think about The Last of Us. The AI is what makes those enemy encounters so tense and unpredictable. Or in Red Dead Redemption 2, it gives every single person in town their own daily routine, which makes the world feel truly lived in. And in a game like Assassin's Creed, AI simulates entire bustling cities, creating this ultimate illusion of life. So, the world is built. It looks amazing. We're done, right? Nope, not even close. Just because it looks finished doesn't mean it's ready. There is a mountain of unseen work that goes into making sure the game is actually fun and, that it doesn't crash every 5 minutes. This is the world of quality assurance, or QA. It is a critical, systematic process where testers basically try to break the game in every way you can possibly imagine. Their job is to find and report bugs, because without good QA, even the best ideas can turn into a broken, unplayable mess. And QA isn't just one step, it's a whole process. It starts small with unit testing. Like, does the jump button work perfectly by itself? Cool. Then comes integration testing. Does that jump still work when you're also trying to shoot and climb at the same time? And finally, you might even have A/B testing, which uses data from real players to settle debates, like which version of a weapon feels more satisfying to use. Okay, the game is built, it's tested, it's polished. Now for the $200 million question. How does it actually make money? Because the business of games has changed a lot. Today, there are two main models. You've got the traditional premium model. Think
Baldur's Gate 3, where you pay a full price one time and you get the whole game. And then you have the free-to-play model. The game itself is totally free, but they make their money by selling optional things like cool outfits or character skins. It's basically turned virtual fashion into a multi-billion-dollar business.
And do not underestimate that free model. For the biggest free-to-play games, a massive 80% of all their revenue comes from these little optional in-game purchases. It makes sense, right? It gets rid of that initial price, so millions of people can try the game, and then it creates this long-term economy inside the game world. It completely changes how these games are designed. They're not built for a single playthrough. They're built to be played for years.
So we've seen how a single game gets built and sold, but where does all this stuff actually happen? Well, it turns out games aren't made in a vacuum. They thrive in these specific ecosystems of talent and support. And France is a perfect case study for how these creative clusters can become global powerhouses. See this? There's a super high concentration of game studios right around Paris. When you get all that talent, all those schools, and all those companies in one place, they start to feed off each other. It creates this amazing cycle of innovation, shared knowledge, and of course, economic growth. But it's not all about giant blockbuster studios. The reality on the ground is way more diverse. For every huge company making millions, you've got a ton of smaller teams. In this case, 40% of them are basically small businesses, earning less than €500,000. It's a whole landscape of both industry titans and passionate indie creators. All right, let's wrap this up by looking ahead. There's a major tech shift happening right now that could totally change how we play games, maybe even getting rid of the console box under your TV entirely. Welcome to the world of cloud gaming. The idea is actually really simple. Instead of running a game on your own machine, it runs on some super powerful server miles away and just streams the video to your screen, kind of like Netflix. This means you could play the latest, most graphically intense games on a cheap laptop or even your phone. And with new 5G networks rolling out, the experience is only getting smoother. Which leaves us with a really big question for the future of this massive, complex, and constantly changing industry. As technology keeps pushing forward, will the very idea of buying and owning a game become a thing of the past?